Hey, welcome back to Coin Flip. I'm Derek Wu, and here's the deal. We make the call so you can move on with your life. Today's episode is all about tax refunds. I know, instinct is to close the app right now, but here's the thing. The average refund this year just hit $3,600. That's real money, and most people are about to waste it without even noticing. So here's what we're getting into today. First, why refunds are actually bigger this year and why that's not entirely great news. There's a tax policy story underneath that number that nobody's talking about, and it actually matters. Then, we're going to run through a dead simple three-step framework for where that money should actually go. No complicated spreadsheets, no jargon, just a decision sequence you can follow in about 10 minutes. After that, we're getting into the behavioral side, because here's the interesting thing. Even people who swear they'll be smart with their refund usually aren't. There's a reason for that, and there's a fix that takes about 48 hours. And we'll close out with 2 forward-looking moves you can make right now to stop overpaying the government next year in the first place. Because a refund sounds great until you remember what actually happened. You lent the government your own money interest-free for 12 months. That's not a bonus, that's just your money coming home late. Decisively, here's the deal. We're giving you a framework that's good enough to actually use today. Not perfect, good enough. That's always the move. Okay, let's cut to it.
Here's the thing nobody tells you about tax refund season. That money showing up in your account is not a gift. It is not a bonus. It is not the government deciding to be generous for once. I've met the government. They're not generous. It is your own money coming home after a long trip carrying exactly 0 interest for the trouble. So let's talk about why the trip was longer than usual this year, because the numbers are actually worth knowing. The average refund as of March 2026 is $3,676. That is up 10.6% from $3,324 last year, per IRS data. People are opening their banking apps and feeling like they won something. And look, I get it. A $3,600 deposit feels great. But before you start planning what to do with your windfall, here's what actually happened. Congress passed the One Big Beautiful Bill in July 2025. It cut individual taxes by an estimated $129 billion. Good news, right? Here's the problem, and this is where government math breaks down. The IRS never updated the withholding tables that tell your employer how much to pull from your paycheck. So your taxes went down, your paycheck stayed the same, and you quietly overpaid the government all year, every single pay period. Now they're returning it in one lump sum with no interest, 0, because that is how this works, and nobody fixed it. 4 new deductions drove most of the bump. No tax on tips up to a $25,000 deduction. No tax on overtime up to $12,500, a new $6,000 deduction for seniors, and auto loan interest on American-made vehicles. About 27.5 million filers claimed at least one of these as of early March. If you were tipped, worked overtime, or bought a qualifying car, your refund probably jumped more than most. Here's the reframe I want you to sit with. This is not found money. You earned it. You lent it to the government at 0%, and now you have it back. The only question worth asking is what you do with it in the next 2 weeks before it quietly disappears into your regular spending. So what is the smartest move? There's actually a 3-step answer, and it takes about 90 seconds to run through. What is your highest interest debt right now?
So the refund landed. What's actually the move? Here's the thing nobody tells you. The problem with the refund is that it feels like found money, and when something feels like found money, you spend it like found money. That's where the math goes sideways. I want to give you a simple waterfall, not a menu, a waterfall. Each step flows into the next, and you don't move to the next one until the first is handled. Step 1, high interest debt, full stop. Credit card rates are averaging around 22% right now. Americans are collectively sitting on $1.28 trillion in credit card debt. Let that number sit for a second. Just sit with it. That's trillions of dollars being slowly eaten by interest. No investment out there guarantees a 22% return. Not index funds, not real estate, nothing. Paying down a 22% debt is, mathematically, a 22% return.
Tax-free, guaranteed. That is the best trade in personal finance, and most people skip it because paying off debt doesn't feel like winning. The Attest survey found that 74% of Americans expect a refund this year, and 67% of the people planning to pay down debt are targeting credit cards first. So at least we're getting smarter about this. If you have high-interest credit card debt, your refund goes there before it goes anywhere else. That's the call. Step 2, emergency fund check. Do you have 3 months of essential expenses saved? Not 3 months of your current lifestyle. Essential expenses, rent, utilities, groceries, the stuff that keeps the lights on. If the answer is no, a portion of this refund parks in a high-yield savings account. Many of them are still paying around 4% or above. That might sound boring compared to investing, but here's why it matters. An emergency fund is what stops the next unexpected expense from becoming the next credit card balance. You're not breaking the debt cycle if you don't have a buffer. Think of it as insurance you're getting paid to hold. Step 3, now you invest what's left. Once the high-rate debt is cleared and the emergency fund is covered, you put the remainder to work. Low-cost index fund, max out an IRA contribution. Either works.
I once had a client lose 4 months researching which index fund to pick. 4 months! The fee difference between his top two? $12 a year. Meanwhile, he missed 4 months of gains. That's stuck with me ever since. The perfect fund doesn't exist, but a fund that gets started beats the perfect fund that never does. Good enough wins. Full stop. Debt, buffer, then growth. That order exists for a reason. And here's what I see happen next. People follow all 3 steps, and then the money still somehow disappears. And that's a different problem entirely. Here's where the whole plan dies. You follow the waterfall, you've got it mapped out perfect, and then the refund hits your account and it just vanishes. This is not a character flaw. This is how money works when it doesn't have a job. Unallocated money leaks. A dinner out because you're celebrating, a jacket you've been eyeing, an impulse purchase that feels totally reasonable when your balance looks healthy, and 6 weeks later, $3,000 is just absorbed. Not stolen, not wasted on one big thing, just gone. Here's what's interesting, though. A 2026 Attest survey found that 45% of Americans actually prefer getting a big annual refund over adjusting their withholding for more each paycheck. 45%. And look, I get it. That lump sum feels like permission to spend differently. That psychology is real. So instead of fighting it, use it. The 48-hour rule, non-negotiable. Within 48 hours of that deposit hitting your account, every dollar needs an assignment, not a vague intention. Specific amount to the credit card, specific amount to savings, whatever's left, move to a separate account before your brain starts pitching you on a new couch. Think of it this way. Your future self and your present self are in negotiation. The 48-hour rule is how your future self wins before your present self even knows there's a fight. I had a client who called this her hot potato rule. Money comes in hot, she passes it fast before she drops it on something she'd regret. Smart framing. Whatever framing works for you, just make the call and move on. That's the whole point. Set 3 transfers the day the money lands. Done. Moving on. Now, flip this around for a second. If your refund was way bigger than you expected this year, that's also a signal worth paying attention to before next April rolls around. One last thing before you file. If your refund was bigger than expected this year, great, but don't count on it next year. The withholding tables weren't updated mid-year after the one big beautiful bill passed, so the IRS is returning money they should have left in your paychecks all along. They fixed it for 2026. The math looks different next time. So, what do you actually do about it? Go to irs.gov and run the IRS withholding estimator. 5 minutes. Plug in your income, filing status, deductions, and it tells you exactly what to put on your W-4. If you want money now instead of waiting for a refund next April, this is how you get it. Your call, but at least make it an actual choice instead of just drifting. April 15th deadline. E-file with direct deposit, and you're looking at under 21 days for the refund. Paper checks are phasing out anyway, so set up direct deposit now. Don't make it another task for later. Make the call. Run the withholding estimator today. That's the move.
All right, that's a wrap on this one. And if you take nothing else from today, take this. A tax refund is not a bonus. It is your own money coming back to you. What you do with it in the next 48 hours decides everything. The thing I keep coming back to is that framing around paying off high-interest debt. Because nobody feels like they're winning when they pay a bill, but paying down a 22% credit card is, mathematically, one of the best trades available to regular people. Tax-free, guaranteed. It just doesn't come with confetti. The index fund story never gets old to me because I lived a version of it. We all do. We want perfect, and perfect becomes the enemy of actually moving. So here's the move. Short version. High-interest debt first, emergency funds second. Invest whatever is left. In that order. Not a menu, a sequence. Run it in that order every time, and you have already made a better decision than most people will. And before you file this away and forget it, go check your withholding. The IRS updated its tables after the one big beautiful bill passed, so your paycheck math may have changed. The estimator is free. It is at irs.gov, and it takes maybe 10 minutes. If you are consistently getting a big refund, that is a signal worth paying attention to. Also, file electronically, use direct deposit, and get it done by April 15th. 21 days to your money. That is the move. Look, personal finance does not have to be this painful, drawn-out thing where you read 6 books and then do nothing anyway. Here's what I know. Most of the decisions have a clear answer. You just need someone to make the call and move on. That's what we're here for. Thank you for spending time with me today. Genuinely. If this was useful, subscribe so you catch the next one. And if you've got a money decision you're stuck on, drop it in the reviews. I read them. I might just flip a coin on it next week. I'm Derek Wu. Make the call, move on. See you next time.